You've probably heard that you can get a lot out of your credit card. Free flights, cash back, access to fancy lounges. But for a lot of people, travel hacking or using your credit cards to get other benefits or rewards isn't always successful. And that's because a lot of us aren't taught how to be strategic with our finances, let alone strategic with credit cards. So in this video, I am going to share 5 common credit card mistakes that prevent people from getting financial rewards out of their credit cards. And of course, I'm going to share tips along the way of what you should be doing instead. And for those who stay until the end of the video, I'm going to tell you how you can get my free debt payoff spreadsheet, which will help you if you want to travel hack eventually, but you still have debt. Hello and welcome. For those new here, my name is Lissa Prudencio. I'm an accredited financial counselor, a personal finance expert, and the co-host of the brand new NetNet podcast, where my best friend and I talk about different facets of life, and we just want to help you make smarter financial decisions. So check out the podcast and let me know what you guys think. What is a credit card strategy? Before I cover those 5 mistakes that people make with their credit card strategy, let's first define what it means to even have a strategy. And if you're already familiar with how to use credit cards, feel free to jump to the list. I'll provide the chapters below so that you can skip around the video. So a credit card strategy involves using credit cards in a deliberate, intentional way to maximize benefits like rewards, perks, cash back, travel benefits, all the while minimizing your costs. So if you approach credit cards with an informed strategy, not only can you build your credit over time and avoid falling into debt, but you can also take advantage of rewards and perks that are offered by credit card companies. So like I mentioned at the start of the video, these rewards can include so many things, like earning points or frequent flyer miles that you can exchange for travel or cash back or other things. It includes sign-up bonuses, plus other benefits like access to airport lounges, exclusive discounts, and so much more. If you've ever heard of the term travel hacking specifically, it relates to having a credit card strategy that leads to travel-specific rewards. It's a thing. There are a lot of credit card companies that are partnered with travel companies so that they can offer travel-related rewards and incentivize people to use their credit cards. But nowadays, travel isn't the only benefit. Almost anyone can benefit from a good credit card strategy. So let's talk about the basics of how to approach your credit card strategy if your goal is to maximize rewards and minimize costs. The process is straightforward. It's not very different from regular usage of a credit card, but here are the 4 main steps. Number 1, research. Find a credit card that offers rewards of some kind that are appealing to you. Number 2, apply. So not anyone can qualify for any old credit card. It's going to be dependent on a few factors. So you want to make sure your credit is in good standing. For example, your credit history, aka what's on your credit report. Also, your history with that particular company may come into play. Like if you have a bad credit history with a certain credit card company, they might not let you open another card. And your income can also play a role in how much credit you can qualify for. So make sure you know that information if you're going to apply for a new card. Number 3, use your card. Typically, the ability to earn rewards and benefits through a credit card is going to require you to use the card in some capacity. They want you to use the card. A lot of credit cards that offer rewards will offer you either cash back or points or travel miles for every dollar that you spend. And number 4, you redeem. In order to actually reap the benefits of your credit card rewards, you're going to want to actually use the points and the miles that you get. So if this process of using credit cards and maximizing your rewards is so simple, then why do people make so many mistakes with it? Why do people not get the most out of their rewards? Why do people actually fall into debt? Well, that's the perfect segue. So let's jump into that list of 5 common credit card mistakes that people make that take away from their success with credit card rewards. Mistake number 1, not paying credit cards in full, aka carrying a revolving balance from month to month. Here's why it matters. If you are not paying your cards in full, more likely than not, you are paying interest on what you owe. The exception would be if you are in a promotional period with 0 APR. Now that interest you're paying because you have an outstanding balance, it can easily cost more than any rewards that you're getting from the card. It's simple math, to be honest. Let's say you put $5,000 on a credit card, and that earns you 5,000 points. Now, different credit cards have different reward systems, but for the sake of simplicity, let's talk about a common exchange rate of 1 point equating to 1 to 2 cents. So that means 5,000 points can range anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 cents. That means $50 to $100. And remember, this is just an estimate. It just depends on what you're actually exchanging your points or your miles for. So what we're saying here is you spend $5,000 on a credit card, you get some points, you earn some rewards, and that would be the equivalent of, let's go this route and say that it's $100 of rewards, which is essentially 2% cash back, right? So you didn't have to do anything extra. You're running your regular expenses through your credit card and you get 2% back. Now, $100 is nice and all, but let's talk about the common mistake people make, which is carrying a balance on their credit card. Let's do a quick example of paying APR. So APR stands for annual percentage rate. It's a percentage that's used to represent your all-in cost of borrowing. So in other words, when you use a credit card and you don't pay it in full each month, you're paying extra money to the credit card company. Without getting into the nitty-gritty details, just know that APR and interest are not the exact same thing, but both relate to the calculation of how much you're going to end up owing the credit card company. For this example, it's not going to matter. Now, according to Forbes Advisor's weekly credit card rates report, as of July 2024, the average credit card interest rate is 27.7%, which is crazy high. So APR can range depending on factors like who your credit card company is and what your credit score is, and it can vary from month to month. So let's go the conservative route and say that your APR is 20% on that one credit card where you have put this $5,000 balance. So we have a $5,000 balance with a 20% APR. You're going to find a credit card payoff calculator online. You can do the math yourself if you want, but easier to just use a calculator. So another thing you might want to know is how much money you're going to pay towards the card every month, right? Because you have to pay it down. So for this example, let's say that you're going to pay $500 a month towards your credit card. So you're not going to pay the $5,000 in full. You decide that you want to pay $500 a month until it's paid off. So if you put that information in one of those calculators, it will tell you that throughout the term in which you're paying this off, you're going to be paying interest that will end up costing you an additional $515. So whatever you spent on that costs $5,000, if you don't pay it in full and you pay $500 a month, you're going to be paying a cumulative amount of $515 on top of what you originally owed. So in just this example alone, you see that if you don't pay your balance in full, you are paying an extra $515. Doesn't matter that you got $100 worth of rewards, because in the long run, you have spent more than you've earned. Now, even if you got credit card rewards for spending that $5,000, your rewards are less than the interest that you've now paid. So that is just the actual financial example of why you can't really earn rewards on credit cards if you're carrying balances from month to month. So if you really want to get rewards out of your credit cards, you have to get your spending under control. You got to pay off any credit card debt, any of your consumer debt, any high interest debt. Then you want to build up a habit of using your card only on things you already have the money for. So let's say if you can go 6 months or more of paying your credit card in full every month, then you can go ahead and start hacking. But I would definitely work on building that habit first. In the meantime, you can spend your time researching various credit cards so that when you're ready, you'll know exactly what card to try to get. All right, mistake number 2 that people make with their credit card strategy is not knowing their yearly spend. So here's why it matters. Here's why you have to know your general expenses. If you know how much money you typically spend in a year, you're going to be able to estimate how much you can earn in rewards through spending. So to be successful with your credit card strategy, you want to keep your spending the same. It's not really hacking a system and getting rewards out of it if you're spending more to earn rewards, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. Spoiler alert. Because even though you're going to get a reward, you're spending more to get those rewards. And is it really a reward if you're paying for it multiple times over? So that's the example that we covered earlier in the video. It just doesn't work out financially. So knowing how much you spend on an annual basis, or even if you know on a monthly basis and you can multiply it by 12, that's going to determine which cards are best for you to look at. Some credit cards offer great rewards if you hit certain spending thresholds. Same goes for sign-up bonuses. If you hit a certain threshold, you will get this many bonus points. But if your spending is nowhere near those numbers, then you'll know that maybe that card isn't the right one for you right now. Or even if you end up getting the card because it has other benefits that you like, just don't let that be a marketing tool that attracts you, right? What is a sign-up bonus if you can't qualify for it because you don't actually have the money to qualify for it? So here's what you can do. You want to do an audit on your cash flow. You want to have a good feel for money that comes in versus money that goes out. When you look at your numbers of how much you typically spend, so the money that goes out, you can also go a step further and see how many of those expenses are things you can actually run through a credit card, right? You don't want to count things like your rent or things you have to pay in cash because those things are not going to get you credit card points because you have to pay them in cash. So you want to understand your cash flow and keep that information handy while you're researching credit cards because you'll be able to look at a credit card and gauge, can I qualify for the sign-up bonus based on what I'm already spending? Can I get a lot of miles or points out of this card based on what I'm already spending? Now, if you want more help calculating your cash flow numbers, I have a free spreadsheet template that I will drop in the description, so feel free to grab that. All right. 2 down, 3 to go on this list of common credit card mistakes. Before I continue, quick reminder, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying this video. And don't forget, if you watch until the end of the video, I'm going to share resources on paying down your debt, which is a critical step for reaping all of the benefits from a credit card strategy. All right, mistake number 3, starting out with too many cards, too many credit cards. So another common mistake for beginners with their credit card strategy is simply trying to run before they can walk. So here's why it matters. Depending on what your yearly expenses look like, which we just talked about, you could potentially be spreading yourself too thin if you're trying to utilize too many credit cards at once. You're trying to qualify for this bonus, that bonus, trying to get points on this card, miles on that card. If you're spread too thin and your expenses aren't even that high to begin with, it's going to be really hard to earn rewards or meet certain thresholds, which is why, like I mentioned earlier, it's important to kind of do that cash flow audit. You want to know what your expenses look like before you even try to implement a credit card strategy. Now, to be fair, some people who are really good at organization and really good at maximizing their credit card rewards, they could have multiple cards for different purposes. For example, some credit cards give you multipliers in points on certain categories, like groceries or gas. Some other cards, they rotate their categories. So if you can get really organized and you know how to manage multiple cards at the same time, and you understand approximately how much you spend every year, that could be a good strategy for you. But for beginners, I definitely recommend don't start with too many cards, right? Test out one to begin with, see what rewards you get out of it, see what your spending is like for that year, and then think about getting better cards down the line. All right, mistake number 4 with credit card strategies is not doing a cost-benefit analysis. So here's why it matters. If you don't understand how a credit card's reward program works, it's hard for you to quantify whether or not it's actually going to be financially worth it in the long run. So ignore me and ignore everything I just said if you're only going to really be using credit cards that have no fee, no annual fee. But for most people who really want to maximize benefits out of credit cards, you may end up getting a credit card that has an annual fee. It could be $95, it could be $695, it could be somewhere in between. What you should know is that yes, some cards have high annual fees, but if you do a cost-benefit analysis, you can see whether or not you're actually going to have the card basically pay for itself and then some, right? You getting other benefits out of the card that exceed anything you might pay for the actual card, right? It will exceed the annual fees. So here's what you should do. When you find a card that looks interesting to you, you like the rewards it offers, but it has an annual fee, compare its cost to the rewards you can get on it. So I do have another video on that particular topic to see whether or not a card with an annual fee is worth it. So make sure you check out that video and I walk you through exactly how to determine, is this card going to be worth it before you try to apply for it and open it. All right, mistake number 5, the last one on the list, is when people spend more to get more rewards. So I alluded to this earlier already. But if you are chasing rewards by buying more things, then you're just spending more money to get the reward. And the way it usually nets out financially when you run the numbers, it's usually not actually a reward. So I think it's common to think that you're getting a 2-for-1 when you spend on your credit card because 1, you're buying something, you're buying an item, you're getting something of value. And on top of that, number 2, you're also getting extra points on your credit card, which you can redeem later for other things. Now, if you're spending on things that you were already gonna buy, whether that's a household necessity, maybe it's part of your discretionary spend, your fun budget, then yeah, I do think you are taking advantage of credit card rewards. You're getting a 2-for-1. However, oftentimes it's not that straightforward. I think it can be a cycle that feeds on itself. Let's say you were 50-50 on buying something, like you kind of wanted those new shoes, you kind of didn't. Maybe in the back of your head, subconsciously, you were like, maybe I'll just buy it because not only will I get new shoes, but I'll also get some frequent flyer miles for my summer vacation next year. Now, I'm not saying this happens to everyone, but in our consumer culture and in this world where we can earn rewards for using credit cards, so we're trained to use credit cards, all of this stuff happens so subtly. Like we typically don't notice when we're just spending more money to rack up more rewards. In a recent bank rate survey, it showed that 50% of people actually carry a balance on their credit cards, which means they are not good candidates for credit card rewards at this point in time, at least in my opinion. Now, I know that sometimes people fall into credit card debt because of necessity, because the system is broken, because it's impossible to live on wages that haven't grown in decades. But I do know that for others, sometimes they fall into debt, like credit card debt, because of bad spending habits. So what I think you can do, especially if you are gonna get into this credit card game, is build self-awareness and be intentional about your spending. Here's what you can do. Define your values. Understand what is important to you, not just with finances, but in life in general. What does enough look like for you? Do the cash flow exercise I mentioned earlier and understand what your current expenses are in your lifestyle. Are you content with what you see on that list? If so, why are you happy with it? What does it bring to your life? What makes it that is all you need? If you're not content with your lifestyle, then what's missing? What else do you want in your life and why? The more intentional you are about crafting your lifestyle, the better your spending is going to be aligned with your values, the better financial decisions you're going to make. All right, there you have it. 5 common credit card mistakes and what to do instead. Now, I didn't forget, for those who made it this far in the video, I said I would share with you my debt payoff tracker. I'm going to drop the link in the description, but you should also check out my video on how to pay off debt. Now, I really think this is important. If you want to get rewards out of your credit cards, you gotta get out of debt, specifically the high interest consumer debt, because that's gonna be most likely to eat away at your rewards. All right, I hope this video was helpful. Until next time, peace out.